This week on Dine Drink CLE, the podcast.
But Paris just told me about a very cool event in Cleveland that I think I want to go to, which is
the Goat Derby.
Yes, there's a goat derby at Wolfe Creek Winery.
At Wolfe Creek, yeah.
Yes.
A national organization is expecting the Mezcal market to increase 11%.
Shut your eyes. He's going to hate it. He's going to hate it.
It's just hot. You get the hot?
I don't like the
Texture.
I'm eating a bug.
It really takes the street taco aesthetic and how they build them and really kind of...
I'm Josh Duke.
And I'm Alex Darus.
And you're either watching or listening to Dine Drink CLE, the podcast where each and every week we're going to be joined by cleveland.com's best and brightest food experts, insiders, and influencers talking all things food and drink here in the Cleveland scene. What are we talking about today, Alex?
We have another holiday weekend, I guess you could call it, coming up. Cinco De Mayo is this Sunday, so we're going to talk about tequila, mezcal, best tacos. We just ran a best taco contest at cleveland.com. And it's also the Kentucky Derby this weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit about mint juleps and hot browns. So a lot of exciting things. So yeah, first we're joined by Paris Wolfe. Hi, Paris.
Hi, Alex. Hi,
Welcome.
Josh.
So Kentucky Derby is this Saturday. So put us in the scene of what is the Kentucky Derby?
The Kentucky Derby is, of course, the horse race, but it's as much fashion as it is horse race. So you got to have your hat. You got to either have a bow tie or a funky tie. You have to be, and then when you wear the hat, you can have a fascinator or a regular hat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to dress up really flashy, you need a simple hat. And if you're going to dress simple, then you need a flashy hat.
Sounds like Josh would like to plan a derby outfit for himself. He would go all out.
I like to, get a little snazzy here and there.
Bow tie or?
Bow tie, I would prefer.
For sure.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so what do people drink at the Derby?
Well, the historic drink has been the mint julep.
Mm-hmm.
That became the official drink in 1938. It's pretty much muddled mint, simple syrup, and bourbon.
Yeah.
Right now, the Derby is sponsored by Woodford Reserve, so it's Woodford Reserve bourbon.
Yeah, and a mint julep, that has to be over like the crushed ice,
Crushed
right?
ice,
Yeah.
yes.
Why-
And
keep going.
well, you know what? Bourbon, when you drink bourbon, you often water it down a little bit, just a drop or two. So I think the crushed ice kind of gives you that dilution.
Yeah, melts quicker.
Yeah.
What other bourbon-based cocktails would you maybe think kind of pairs well with the Derby?
There's a new one that they say is catching up to the mint julep. It's called the Woodford Spire, and it's lemonade, cranberry, bourbon, simple syrup, and you can make a mocktail version of it with iced tea instead of the bourbon.
Oh,
that sounds really good.
Yeah,
It's
and
nice
that was named after something with the Derby, right?
The Spires on the Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice and springy. I feel like that one feels like I can digest that a little easier. I like that one.
You're not a mint
That does
guy?
sound good.
Do you like a mojito?
Oh, yes. I am all about
So you would like a
mojitos.
mint julep?
Well, yeah, but still, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We can practice.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have both and then you see
Yes,
which one you like
true.
better. Yeah, and the food. I know there's a lot of food traditions, like pimento cheese is a big thing.
Hot brown sandwiches. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a hot brown, that's like an open face turkey sandwich, I think. And it has like what's it called? A Mornay sauce, which is like a bechamel with cheese in it, which sounds
Nice.
delicious.
Yes.
And bacon on it because why not? What else do they eat? They eat a lot of tea sandwiches, like Southern food. I've heard that they
And dressy. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I should have wrote down the numbers, but they go through a insane amount of brisket and shrimp. Like that's a lot of the food eaten at the Derby is a lot of brisket based sandwiches or like shrimp pasta, I think is a big thing, and a lot of Southern influence for sure.
Yeah, so obviously the Derby pretty much takes place in, is it Louisville, Kentucky?
Yes.
Louisville, Kentucky, right. How are we celebrating Cleveland? Are you guys doing anything?
Wow.
I bought a hat just in case I got invited to a party, but I'm still waiting.
But Paris just told me about a very cool event in Cleveland that I think I want to go to, which is
The Goat Derby.
yes, there's a goat derby at Wolfe Creek Winery.
at Wolfe Creek. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Goat
Goat.
races. And you wear the hats.
It's literally
and
just the same
It's
thing
like
with
the
goats.
same
Dress
thing.
up just like you're going to the Derby. And then they have goats run in separate heats, and whichever goat gets there first, and you put money on the goats like you would put a bet on the horses, but it's really a donation. You don't get you don't get money back.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah. They have
I
a whole
think so.
VIP experience too if you want to really feel like you're at the Derby, except it's just goats.
Interesting.
Guess if you're not that interested in the sport, it shouldn't make that big of a
Fun.
difference.
It just sounds like fun.
Most people go to the Derby just to chill anyway.
Watch
I
the
doubt.
Drink and show their hats
I
off.
doubt most people are betting or watching the horses all like that.
I feel like it would be almost be more entertaining with the goats. Like a
Yeah.
horse is more athletic. A goat, at least it's like,
Funny.
like, what are they going to do? Are they going to start eating? Like, who knows? But speaking of drinking, we're talking about bourbon a lot, but also this weekend is Cinco de Mayo, which tequila, margaritas, and I know, Paris, you recently wrote a pretty interesting story about mezcal.
Mezcal.
Yeah. So, and by the time this is out, I'm working on a story about tequila because in 2023, tequila passed vodka in the state of Ohio to be the number 2 best-selling spirit. It's still behind American whiskey.
Didn't know that.
But yeah, no, people are drinking a lot of tequila. I know, which you recently wrote a story about Western Reserve Distillers. They make their version. They have to call it agave spirit because tequila has to be made in Jalisco, Mexico. But it's like their selling
the best
spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so tequila versus mezcal.
I recently spent some time tasting mezcal at Clandestina on West 25th, and I'm a fan.
Yeah.
It can be very, very different. Mezcal comes from agave, but not Blue Weber agave. It can come from any of the wild agaves, any of 40 wild agaves
Wow.
in Mexico. It's usually made around Oaxaca, and it really shouldn't be considered tequila.
Well, yeah, because I think like conversationally, you hear people describe it as smoky tequila.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Scotch. It's not, it's smoky mezcal. It because there are different agave plants they use. Think of it as like different grapes. They can taste wildly different.
That's true.
Yeah, and something else since that I found out from the state of Ohio too is just since 2021, the amount of tequila offered in the state is up 37%. And I'm sure that's probably similar with mezcal of just the amount of offerings we have to be able to try.
Are growing. A national organization is expecting the mezcal market to increase 11% in the next 8 years.
Yeah, so it's like
Pretty small, but it's really jumping.
yeah, it's like what we're seeing with tequila now. It's almost like mezcal was a little.
I do feel like tequila is kind of an entry to mezcal.
Oh, yeah?
Even though they're different,
Okay.
it's kind of an entry.
And where are you getting the best mezcal in Cleveland? Are there places that specialize in it?
Clandestina. The owners spent some time around Oaxaca trying a lot of different mezcals, and they have a lot to taste.
Well, and what's cool about there too is they have a lot of different mezcal drinks. Like I've noticed on cocktail or bar menus, if anything, even at like a Mexican restaurant, they'll have like 1 or 2 special cocktails with mezcal in it. But I feel like at Clandestina,
They have all, yeah.
you have to ask if you want tequila in them instead, almost.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Interesting.
And they have a broad range of Mexican food that's all made from scratch as well.
I was going to say it sounded like the mezcal was slightly different than tequila, if not significantly different, I guess, depending on where you get it or how you get it. So you can't really just substitute it in a cocktail like you're trying to make
you're
it.
going to get a total different taste
Yeah.
because when they harvest the agave for tequila, they steam it and pull off the juice or nectar. When they harvest the agave for mezcal, they quarter it, put it in a pit, smoke it for 4 days, and then press the liquid out of it.
Yeah, I feel like I remember hearing that's why it's
That's why
people
it's so
smoky because it's literally in the ground with the smoke in it, you know?
Interesting.
But yeah, I think like a lot of places you will see like a mezcal margarita or even like a paloma with mezcal in it instead. But yeah, I mean, whether it's tequila or mezcal, I don't think you can really go wrong.
I agree.
You recently suggested this place. I can't think of the name. A place that serves like these light, fluffy margaritas.
Oh, that's La Playa. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Gordon Square. They have a lot of soft serve margaritas.
Yeah, I wonder if they would do anything with mezcal in them.
I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure they do have some because the owner also owns Blue Habanero, which we'll be talking about shortly. And I'm pretty sure both places, the cocktails are a lot different. Like Blue Habanero is a huge margarita kind of typical menu, whereas La Playa has some different stuff, but I bet you could get it there.
Let's go find out.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, order both. Order 1 mezcal margarita and 1 tequila margarita and see what you prefer.
It's our job.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Speaking of, I guess, margaritas in general, do you guys have a favorite? I feel like there's so many flavor combinations. Like
No, just a straight Tommy's margarita with the fresh juice and
see,
maybe the lavender one, but probably the Tommy's.
see, I prefer a reposado margarita over a blanco, which blanco is an unaged tequila, or reposado I think can be aged up to 2 years. Yeah.
I'm not that picky,
but it adds more flavor. But I also like to like a Paloma or a blood orange margarita. Western Reserve Distillers does that. A spicy I like them all.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't complain about the jalapeno cucumber either.
Yeah.
What
Just
about
give
you?
me a good strawberry margarita and we're good. We're good to go.
Do you prefer them frozen or on the rocks?
Oh, on the rocks. You know, when I was a youngin, I used to only drink frozen margaritas,
That
but
doesn't
now
surprise
it's
me.
like, but now it's like, no, it has to be on the rocks because it just doesn't feel like it's doing anything otherwise. So,
Mm.
I agree.
Yeah. So also when you were at Clandestina, like you said, they have a lot of great food options there. You got to try something recently that's a little out of the box.
They have chipolines, which are fried grasshoppers. They're not the ones that are this big that we might have caught when we were kids. They're little. They're they can be almost a plague in Mexico sometimes. So it's good if you eat them.
Yeah. So how do they make them at Clandestina?
They are coated in a mango habanero dust
Oh.
and served crispy.
So the idea is to eat them like a bar peanut or something
Exactly.
like that? Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude,
Or
that's-
they're really good on guacamole. Dip a chip in guacamole. Put a couple of them on there. They're really good.
I've just been a little distracted at this horrific sight in front of me. Yes, thank you, Alex. But if I miss this, sorry. Do they import this from somewhere, or do you? Okay, interesting.
So yeah, it's not
It's
like,
not in our backyard.
I'm like, are they just going out there and catching
are you
them?
gonna eat one?
Do I have to?
You have to eat one. We have
Oh
to try
gosh,
it.
this is.
All right. You can do it. It really
There's no
doesn't
legs
taste
on it. It looks like
Yeah.
a corn
I'm
nut.
just gonna close. Oh, I hate the way it feels. I'm literally shaking right now.
You're gonna eat
I'm literally. I
You're
can't even
okay.
pick it up.
it. Just eat it.
It tastes like
I don't.
hot. It tastes hot.
Just shut your eyes. He's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it.
It's just hot. Do you get the hot?
I don't like the.
texture.
The texture.
I'm eating a bug. I just.
Protein. That's protein.
It kind of tastes like
Actually has
peanut.
more protein.
a little
Are you
bit.
crying?
No.
A little. He's tearing up a
No,
little bit.
because they're hot.
It is a little spicy.
They have more protein than beef.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience.
Please subscribe to the podcast for Josh's sacrifices today.
Oh, it's still in my mouth.
Will you order it
I
again?
know.
You'd get a leg stuck in
No,
your
I
teeth.
wouldn't. Unfortunately, I'll
No.
just stick to like peanuts or something.
I can see what you're saying though. On a chip with guacamole, that's a little
It's-
flavor.
Yeah. You get the hot with the creamy guacamole.
I just
Yeah.
feel like a wing or something. It's
Ew,
just,
a wing.
just in my mouth. Pause. Are we okay?
We're
go
good.
ahead.
Get it
All
right.
right.
Coke.
And now we have Pete Chakerian here to join us, and he's going to be telling us a little bit about some of the best tacos in Cleveland. We recently obviously had a readers poll, and we discovered our top 3. Welcome, Pete.
Hi, friends.
Yeah, so you would prefer eating tacos to crickets?
Yeah, totally.
He's trying to take his mind
Yeah,
off it.
100%.
So yeah, Pete, you guys recently narrowed it down to the top 3 and visited them. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the process.
Well, we started off with 25 different locations that were nominated by our readers and boiled that down to 10. And then from there was another round of voting, and we landed on a top 3. Blue Habanero came in 3rd place. They were our 2019 Best Mexican Restaurant for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. 2nd place was La Plaza Taqueria on the west side. Awesome food there, very much with a folksy street taco mindset. And then 1st place by a landslide, over 60% of the votes came in for Menorca Cantina in Medina, right on the square.
Okay, what do you think sets them apart from the rest? I'm sure there was probably over dozens and dozens of restaurants that were recommended. So
It's really interesting. Each one of them comes to the table with something different and unique. Blue Habanero, I think, really takes the street taco aesthetic and how they build them and really kind of sort of elevates it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different different in a great way, almost like they're taking it to this whole other gastronomic level. So you're not thinking of them as street food. You're really thinking of them as much more highbrow and elevated. Lots of really interesting and unique toppings going on as well. La Plaza is really interesting. You get their soft shell and your protein. And then after that, you're sort of left to your own druthers. You can pretty much do whatever you want with their little topping bar. And they have all kinds of different things, crema and guacamole and salsa verde, fresh pico, and so on. There's lots of different things. But I noticed one thing very interesting about them. They don't lean on cheese at all.
At all, yeah.
No, not at all. And, that's a very American thing to do. That and the shredded lettuce are both very much an American thing to do. And so they don't tread into that territory at all. In first place, Monarca Cantina, they're, sort of brought to the table from the same folks who gave you Tres Portillos. So this particular place has got a very fancy upscale Mexican restaurant vibe going for it. And they have a street tacos menu that they are very focused on, but there are a lot of other dishes, a lot of other really interesting things too. You can bring pretty much anybody who has an interest in Mexican food there, and they're going to find something.
Yeah. And so when you guys went to visit them, how many tacos did you try at each place?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm probably good on tacos for a couple weeks. We ate a lot of tacos over the last 48 hours or so. And all of them were wonderful. I mean, I can't even begin to describe them all in a way that wouldn't sort of overwhelm. And I certainly am not going to ramble.
Was there one that stood out?
Yeah, any
memory?
Interesting ones?
Oh, I'd say the Al Pastor tacos that we had at Blue Habanero were really good. Those were the ones that really stood out for me.
Did you eat any of the lengua or the tripe at La Plaza?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
I did not.
That's pretty authentic. Would you eat that? The tongue taco, beef tongue taco?
Well, I guess I have to try things, so I guess I'll have to.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than a bug, I think.
It's really not an unwillingness,
Yeah,
we just didn't get.
Yeah,
there,
no,
so.
I'm sure. I mean, there's so many tacos like at the.
What is like the most bizarre one that you've seen besides? I mean, that sounds a little bit bizarre to me.
Or yeah, I guess not bizarre, but like a topping that was in a taco that you wouldn't think was in a taco that you were surprised by.
Honestly, I wasn't that surprised. We sort of stayed to the main roads because the reporting would sort of dictate that we would do that. But yeah, tripe tacos. I'm going to have to go back and do that.
Those are delicious. Yeah. Well, do you have a favorite taco spot, Josh?
Well, I am a really big fan of Barrios. I know Barrios is just, whenever I discovered it, however long ago, I don't really go to other places too much, just because when you find a spot that you really, really like and you're going to get something consistently good, you just go back there each and every time. And so you just build your own taco there, and I honestly just check off random things almost every single time, and I get a positive result. So that's kind of what I like.
Yeah.
We talked about that in your 5 for Friday from last week.
Sure did.
No, I think, which I think they ended up in the top 10 for me is Ola. I love Ola tacos. They're birria tacos with the consomme dip. I literally had them this weekend. And they have like, which I'm not a vegetarian, but I order a lot of vegetarian tacos there because they're very interesting. Like corn or cauliflower and all this other stuff. Like you kind of don't miss the meat.
Yeah. I like a good aioli, some kind of cream on my taco that help bring that sort of. I know we don't do cheese on authentic tacos, but I do like to pair it with like some mild cheddar or something that, I don't know. I like a nice creamy cheesy taco. I guess it's the Americanized.
Oh, I love a fish taco too.
Fish taco
yeah.
For me,
or shrimp.
Where it's at. Shrimp tacos are really good too.
That's like whenever I go somewhere near the ocean, like that's all I want to eat is fish tacos, like all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're working on the stories now for those top 3 finishers, bringing you the stories behind each one of those restaurants. And I'm excited to share those stories. Yadi and I have been working on them really hard. So
yeah, no, I think I've been to all except for Monarca, so I have to go out that way. But I'm really lucky. La Plaza is like my local grocery store, so I take advantage of them. Because it is, which I don't think we mentioned, it is like a restaurant in a Mexican grocery store.
It is. They're adjacent to one another, and it's a really convenient way to grab your food and then grab your food.
Yeah, and they have like in ready-made tamales. They're so good. You just put them in the oven. That's like, I get them all the time. But this is not the best tamale contest, but maybe next time.
Never know.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much for listening to or watching Dine Drink CLE, the podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at DineDrinkCLE and subscribe to our newsletter at cleveland.com/newsletters.